Another problem with the World Economic Forum is it gives credibility to evil people. Give an example. Gustavo Petro, P-E-T-R-O, Petro. He was a leader of the M19 terrorist guerrilla group who in 1980, this is in Colombia, who in 1985 held their Supreme Court hostage when they raided the Palace of Justice. This was not January 6th. This was the real deal. They killed half of the 25 Supreme Court justices. 94 people died in total. Right? This group also stole 5,000 weapons from the Colombian military. And it's a terrible guerrilla group, right? The guy who was a part of that group, a Marxist guy, Gustavo Petro, he's now the president of Colombia. He's the president. And check this out. Here he is on stage at the World Economic Forum, sitting next to Al Gore. There's old Al from Tennessee wearing his cowboy boots. Former vice president, sitting next to the now president of Colombia. And isn't this all great? And this is the moment when Petro blamed capitalism for causing climate change. Here it is.
We have to put an end to this if we wish to live in our planet. Can our capitalism do this? Based on the current data, we won't be able to do so. Therefore, perhaps we should do the following reflection. If capitalism is unable to do so, either humanity will die with it, or humanity will overcome capitalism so that we can live in our planet.
And the solution for these people is Marxism, just in the name of environmentalism now. In the name of environmentalism, capitalism isn't working, so we need to bring in a new system. And the system is the old system, that is Marxism, that's all it is. And the people at the World Economic Forum say, yes, very interesting, yeah. Because it's this beautiful big stage, right? Oh yeah, wow, great. And now this monster, this Marxist guy, has a way to spread his Marxist ideology to the most influential people in our systems. Another element to this, some Americans go, and that adds to the credibility of all this as well, but there's an argument that they should go. So like the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, went to the World Economic Forum, and you're like, there's a debate, like is that a good idea or not? Would you go? Like if you're a conservative, would you go to the World Economic Forum and speak? Would you go to counter the Marxist worldview? Trump went in 2018. So would you go to be the voice against all of this? Or does you being there give authority to these people and their terrible ideas as well? You like sanction it by your presence. That's interesting. I could see both arguments on that. We'll talk to our guest about that coming up in a little bit as well. So why do we have to pay attention to this? Why does this matter? Why do we pay attention to this gathering of globalists? Stephen Miller actually put this very well. He said one of the many reasons we must focus more on Davos, World Economic Forum, is because our political and financial elite hunger for validation from the global elite. Just as yesterday's Marxist academic theory becomes today's dogma, so too does a Davos panel today become tomorrow's regulatory framework. It's a great point. You look at all the nonsense that came from our universities about transgender children, for instance, and now it's everywhere in every public school across the country. Like that's how that spreads. And it's true for our nation. So these terrible ideas go through the World Economic Forum and then spread out to all of our systems across the country. So spending time at the World Economic Forum is a look in the crystal ball of what's coming next for us here in America. From the globalists to here in this country, the people who run our companies and media and Hollywood. What are they going to be pushing next? You want to know? Well, just look at what they're talking about today. Hey, thanks for watching that clip about the World Economic Forum. Super important to understand what's going on. But the thing is, when you learn about this stuff, I don't know, but my anxiety goes up. It's like global digital IDs and like we're not allowed to eat meat anymore. We're going to eat bugs. Like, what are you talking about? So I get very anxious. So that's why I started this podcast. It's called Politics by Faith. So what we do is we take the story of the day, we break it down, we lament the brokenness, but then we provide some historical perspective and some biblical peace to understand that there's nothing new under the sun. And then what we can do to get through this, even more than get through it, what we can do to win. So that's what the podcast is all about. You can give it a download. It's free, of course, wherever you listen to your podcast, Politics by Faith. And you can watch, you can feel the anxiety wash away.